Okay, I was thinking today about something I learned in some readings about German longsword fencing. And the sword, the feather sword that we use in German longsword fencing, there are two parts of the blade that we're talking about in specifics here. The top part of the blade, the top half, is called the foible, and the bottom half, closer to the cross guard and the handle, is called the forte. The foible is the weak part of the sword, and the forte is the strong part. Fuerte in Spanish means strong, and fortis in Latin means strength. I'm talking about Romance languages. So forte, if that's German, I assume that means strong as well. To the relationship of the FOR, the F vowel, and RT, forte, fortis, fuerte, similar, is strong. So a foible, when we talk about the top part of the sword, foible means the weak part of the sword. I don't know what that is in Spanish or Latin. But the word foible we usually attribute to a person's weakness. You know, what's your foible? What are your foibles? What's a person's strengths? And what are their weaknesses? What's a person's forte, right? When we talk about something somebody's good at. What's your forte? What are your natural abilities? Cool. I'm good at, I don't know, whatever you're good at, whether you're good at languages or math or art, whatever it is, you know, that's your forte, something you're naturally good at. And a foible is something you're weak at, something you're not so great at. It's kind of the opposite of a talent. So when I talk about one of my foibles, which is maybe be planning, I'm not great with numbers either, but you know, if my foible is math, then that's something I'm weak at, something I'm not great at. And so, in the same way that there are two parts of the sword, people have two different weaknesses and strengths. They've got two different parts of them, their weaknesses and their strengths. And just because something is a weakness or something maybe you're not great at, that doesn't mean you have less value, or that's not something that can be used constructively in your life. You know, I still have to use math. Math is still super necessary. Whether I'm doing cooking measurements or doing financial type endeavors, even if I'm just at the store, how much does 2 cartons of milk cost? Multiply those, things like that. You know, I still have to work at those things and be good at those things. I'm in this financial training class and I see all these concepts about stewardship and financial planning, and I just get so overwhelmed because that's my foible. That's one of my foibles, is planning. On top of that, one of my foibles is math and doing numbers. So I'm coming to this point where I'm realizing, boy, I've got 2 foibles that I'm really going to have to overcome as I'm thinking about financial planning and using that math aspect of it. And even though I've got strengths in other areas, these are going to be really necessary things in my life. And just like in longsword fencing, there are ways to utilize the foible, the weak part of the sword, the feather sword, the longsword, the German longsword. There are ways to use our weaknesses in life. Just because we have things that we're not great at doesn't mean, again, we can't use those positively in our lives. Sure, you should focus on your strengths and try and find an area of work or whatever it is that you're good at, that something that goes with your forte, right? You want to You want to live into that strength. You really want that to be the primary place that you're pumping a lot of your energy. Because if you're pumping all of your energy into your foible, into your weakness, into trying to be better at something that you're not good at, that's going to take a lot of energy. And I guarantee you, you're going to start getting depressed when you start trying to use your foible on a regular basis and it doesn't work out as well as you want it to. You're going to have to overcome that foible. And it's going to take a couple of things. It's going to take a lot of hard work and dedication. You're going to have to just push and push and push and practice and get better at those things to the point of being able to use them functionally. But you're never going to be, no matter how much you work at it, you're never going to be better at your foible than you are at one of your fortes. Which is why you should live into your forte. Do what you're good at. Do what brings you joy and what brings you energy. Sorry, it's getting really dark. I'm driving home. So, you're gonna have to just work and work and work at your fortes and get them better. But you're really gonna have to work at your foibles to make them passable. You know, I had to work and work and work to get a C in basic algebra. It was not my forte. That was my foible. I would tell my teachers, I would say, I will write you a 5-page paper on why I'm struggling in this class. Because that's one of my fortes. Writing is one of my fortes. So I was more than happy, more than ready, willing and able to write a really long document. Because that's one of my strengths. I wanted to put energy into that. But at the same time, I had to use some wisdom and say, man, I really have to get past this class. If I wanted to get my degree, I was getting an associate's degree in English. So I had to push. My wife helped me. I went and talked to the professor and got help regularly between classes. And it was a struggle. It was really hard. But in the end, I realized it was worth it because now my foible is at least manageable. So here I am in a financial training class, financial stewardship class. And I'm realizing this is the next level. And this is a really important part of my current education. And so I really am going to have to push. And really trust God to get me through and to help me with the place I struggle at. The two places I struggle with the most: planning and finances. Well, not finances, but math. Planning and math, which is financial stewardship, because you have to plan ahead. If you fail to plan, you plan to fail. And I'm trying to heed that wisdom that I've been given by people who are good at planning. So I hope you see the tie-in. I hope that helps you somehow when you think about your life, when you think about the foibles that you have, your weaknesses. Those aren't what define you. Your weaknesses don't define you. Your strengths don't define you. In the Christian world, we say that our relationship with Jesus defines us, but that's not what this post is really about. You know, if you want to know more about that, hit me up in the comments or something, and we can talk about that. But the weaknesses you have, you can overcome those. You know, they'll never be as good as your strengths. So definitely focus on what you're good at. Hit your forte up on the regular. But your foibles, you're just gonna have to tough it out. Tough it out, my friend, and it'll work out. When you work at that, when you put a lot of effort into it, it's going to be okay. I promise you that. So focus on your fortes, focus on what you're good at, what your strengths are. Let those give you energy as you pour your life into those things. Get joy from those things, and don't get discouraged by the foibles. Those things you don't necessarily see yourself as being really good at. You're not a bad person. You're not less worthwhile just because you've got some things you're not good at. So hopefully that gives you some encouragement. That's what I've been thinking about today. I better get driving, it's getting dark. All the best and many blessings. Talk to you later. Bye.